In course of my discussion relating to the source material of my study, I have already referred about the Babur-nama. It is the memoirs of Babur or autobiography of Babur, which is also known as Tujuki Babri or Wakati Babri. Another important source which was written by Akbar's minister Abul Fazl, that is Aini Akbari, which was composed between 1595 to 1596, considered as an important source during the period of Akbar. It also gives information in very details about the land revenue system and geographical feature of India. Another important source of Shahjahan's time, that is Padshah-nama, written by Abdul Hamid Lahori. It also considered as another important work in that direction. Several contemporary sources which were mostly written in Persian, this gives us information regarding the geographical variations of this country with particular reference to the natural surroundings. One of them, Muhammad Ali Khan's Mirat-e-Ahmedi, it gives us information regarding the weather and natural surroundings of the province Gujarat. The travelers who came to India from the 17th century onwards has left different accounts which gives us several information. Burnier's account in this regard is an unique example. Burnier, who himself a physician who travelled the different cities of India, has left a very vivid account about the nature and its surroundings of the Indian towns. It would be better to start our journey with the environmental history of the Mughal, focusing on 2 points. First, the forest resources and the preservation of forests, and through this discussion we should try to find out whether there was any deforestation was taken place, and next is the agricultural zones. Aini Akbari refers the different varieties of land, and it is well known that it was done by Todormal, was the land revenue minister under Akbar, and Abul Fazl recorded every detail on the basis of production of the land, on the basis of regional variety, though some portions of Bengal, Thatta and Kashmir, these places have not mentioned in his account. But a huge land came under cultivation. It is accounted in Aini Akbari that during the time of Akbar, around 50 to 55% growth was taken place in the agrarian sector, which means a huge land came under cultivation. We need to study regarding the forest resources of India. Babur refers relating to the forest resources of Hindustan. In his memoir, Babur mentioned that Hindustan, that is India, was thickly forested. When he attacked India, he found each and every portion of the India was covered with forest. That's why he ordered to cut down some trees for making the ways for his army. This tradition even followed during the time of Akbar. Aini Akbari refers one of the incident which was taken place during the time of Akbar, that is Akbar ordered his one of the generals, Sahabaj Khan, who deployed to move towards Bihar and to suppress the movement of Gajpati, who was the zamindar of the Jagdishpur in Bihar. In this account, Aini Akbari refers that in the region of Bihar there was a dense forest, and Sahabaj Khan took 2 months, only 2 months, to cut the forest, and after cutting the trees he made the ways clean, and thereafter they entered into the Jagdishpur. So this type of accounts are available in this regard. start our journey from the extremist, that is from Assam. And Alamgir Nama in this concern refers the jungles of Assam and the north or extreme northeastern part of India. According to the Alamgir Nama, there was a dense forest in the both sides of the river Brahmaputra, except some portions which were usually used for the purpose of cultivation. Another important source, that is Tarikhi Mulki Assam, which also refers one of the most important forest, quote unquote jungle, that is Kajlaban, which usually famous for the wild elephants. Even it is also reported that several elephants were captured from this forest land. Bengal is concerned, Bengal was famous for his dense forest. Reynolds' Bengal Atlas 1781 giving some information regarding the Bengal's forest resources. Apart from that, several contemporary Bengali literary sources provided some information in this regard. One of the most remarkable source, that is Mukundaram Chakrabarti's Kobi King Kanchundi. It refers the different forest region of Bengal, and also it refers regarding the different varieties of forest of Bengal. And most important thing is that the different parts of Bengal like Coach Bihar, Sarkar, Ghoraghar and some portion of the Sylhet, these all areas were covered with forests. Another information is in this concern, that is the delta of Bengal, that is the Sundarban region. It was very rich forest region, and Sundarban was famous for wild elephants. Abul Fazl informed that during the time of Akbar, several wild elephants were captured from this forest, and it may possible that this wild elephant were introduced in this forest by the local chieftains or the rajas. Here we need to study the another aspect relating to our discussion, that is who were particularly the owner of the forest land. Because we have already seen that this forest were under the state, but the state was not directly controlled over the forest, because local chieftains, rajas, jamindars, they have their control over the forest. Odisha also covers a dense forest. The most important account in this work is that during the Shahjahan's period, it was written, that is Abdul Hamid Lahori's Padsanama. Lahori mentioned that in the southeastern part of the district Ganjam, there were 75 miles dense forest in Odisha. Hamilton record, which is roughly from 18th century, it is the 18th century document, gives us several information, the forest area which were among the sides of the river sides and some extent in Balasore. There was thick forest area in the Tarai or the Himalayan foot. There are some other references relating to the forest resources in Rohilkhand also. The most extensive unbroken forest within the India in the Mughal times was indeed in central India. Irfan Habib referred this forest, quote, Great Central Indian Forest, unquote. It covers the different areas, the extensive forest land stretching from Balasore between Mahanadi and Godavari, and Jharkhand between Son and the river Mahanadi. The most interesting account in this regard that the elephant was found in this forest, that means the wild elephant, as I stated earlier, and this elephant were introduced by the local rulers as Bengal. We need to study that the different aspects of the economic perspective of the Mughal forest. Several major products included firewood, timber, charcoal, which were used in the domestic life. Apart from that, bamboo, gamlek, beeswax, wild skill, musk, these were all the forest products. The most important and the major forest product which had some commercial value, that is timber and firewood. Aini-Akbari refers an account relating to the utilization of the timber in the royal kitchen of Akbar period last half of the 16th century. Ain here refers a statistical data where it reflects that nearly 1,500,000 months, that is 37,63,890 kgs timber has been utilized in the royal kitchen. Unfortunately, regarding the price of this timber or the firewood has not mentioned, but the account of Pulsar, which is some extent later period, Pulsar made in comparison between the price of the firewood which was available in Agra and its nearby region and some other places like Allahabad, Ajmer and some portion of the eastern India, where he reflects that he stated that the price of the timber or the firewood of Agra was cheaper than the other places of India. A good quality of timber such as teak, sal, these were available in India. Aini-Akbari refers that 72 variety of timber with different degree which were available in India. That means the utilization of timber not only for the purpose of domestic, several construction of buildings, and it was utilized as a building material, and by the 17th century and 18th century onwards, for the purpose of making ships and boats, this timber was hugely utilized. Different other varieties of wood are available in the several portions of the country. In Assam, in Bengal, different varieties of wood were available. There are some other things which were available in the forest, that is gamlek, yielded in certain places of Bengal, and Bengal was very much famous for that. Barnier had given his account and he accounted that Bengal was very much famous even for beeswax, and it was though found in the several parts of India, but the quality of beeswax in Bengal was very much high and very much rich. In this regard, I would like to mention regarding the elephant. It is considered as one of the most unique and useful animal which was used in war and also as beast of burden. In the establishment of Akbar, it is estimated that there were 5,000 elephants. Among them, 1,000 were the khas elephant. Several contemporary paintings gives us some information, though Aini-Akbari, Abul Fazl's this work have given an extensive idea regarding the differentiations of animal, the establishment. These all factors have been detailed mentioned in Ain. There have several references regarding the animal resources, particularly the elephants, its availability. Agra, Awadh, some portions of the Bengal, northeastern part, Assam were very much famous for animal. This animal, that is elephant. Abul Fazl also reported regarding the hunting of animal. These hunting areas were mostly located in Agra, Allahabad, Bihar, Orissa. Apart from that, elephant was considered as an important commercial animal. I need to mention another animal which got most importance under the period of Akbar, that is cheetah. The cheetahs were utilized for the purpose of hunting. Ain-e-Akbari refers that there were 1000 cheetah in the royal establishment of Akbar. They were trained for the purpose of deer hunting. After this study relating to the forest resources of India on the basis of regional variety, we need to discuss about the agricultural zones, better to say the different provinces which were developed by the Mughals on the basis of agricultural productivity. The economic structure of the Mughal Empire was based on agricultural production, and it is well known and well evident factor. With the establishment of the Mughal Empire in India, the agricultural field was developed. Different varieties of crops, vegetables, fruits and flowers were cultivated in the different regions. Regarding this study, the work of Professor Irfan Habib considered as an unique effort in this regard. Another work which I need to mention, this is the work of Sirin Muzvi, The Economy of the Mughal Empire, and she has given the statistical data of the Mughal Empire on the basis of the production in the different regions. In this regard, we need to study the population of the Mughal Empire, from where we could be able to get some data regarding the increasement of the agricultural land. So far the population is concerned in the Mughal India, no census person was ever connected in the part of the Mughal Empire. The reports which we usually get from the contemporary record, that is Ain-e-Akbari, I have already mentioned regarding the Ain-e-Akbari, it is an unique record during the time of Emperor Akbar. It gives some information regarding the agricultural land and the production per bigha. On that basis, Morland had taken an attempt. W.H. Morland, according to his observation, he had taken two efforts to clarify the population or the growth of population on the basis of two of his observations. First of all, to work out the total area under cultivation at the end of the 16th century, and then to estimate on the basis of the total population of Akbar's empire. According to his observation, the gross rate of production from 16th century till 19th century or 20th century, it was some extent developed. The production rate or the rate of development was not huge. According to Morland, during that time, on the basis of contemporary document, here was that there were 100 million population in Mughal India. But he concluded this statement on the basis of Razi. Razi means area measured for revenue purposes. There have several arguments among the scholars relating to this ratio, but it is well evident that 85% of the total population in Mughal India were from the rural society. Kingsley Davis, he also mentioned an account. He accounted that in 1600, that is first of the 17th century, there were 120 million population in India, and it was almost same till after the second half of the 18th century. By 1800 to 1871, it was almost double, because this period, it is well known that this is the period of British expansion, and by the 1800, population was nearly 200 million, it is almost double. D. Bhattacharya refers 207 million, and Maurice de Maurice referred some extent little, that is 197.8 million. It is 19th century account. According to their observation, 16th century May 150 million, that is 17th century 1600, and 19th century 1800 it is 200 million, that is growth rate was 33%. So on that basis, agricultural land was developed. Another important aspect in this regard I need to mention, that is the gardens of the Mughal, because these gardens are closely related to the environmental context of our study, because different types of garden were introduced for the first time in India by the Mughals. Babur introduced the Charbagh system. Though Babur's rule was not very long in India, he ruled only for 4 years. He was most of his time he was engaged for political consolidation of his empire. But Babur laid the first stone towards the gardening in India, that is Charbagh system was introduced, that is fourfold gardening system. And this tradition was continued by Akbar during the time of Jahangir and during the time of Shah Jahan. It got its ultimate climax. Jahangir put more concentration for making gardens in the different parts of India, in Kashmir, in Lahore. Even the gardens in Agra were also considered one of the major important aspects. The gardens have some social impact. Several contemporary Mughal paintings shows the social impact of the Mughal gardens. Several fruits and flowers were produced in India. Several flowers were also introduced in India by the Mughal as a result of their gardening. The most important account regarding the gardening, the water management system of the Mughal gardens. W.S. Siddiqui works in this regard considered most attention. The most important aspect of the Mughal garden, that what was the perspective for constructing the gardens. The purpose was only to decorate the palaces or buildings, or some extent different. Obviously, the purpose of the gardening some extent to beautificate the palaces and the buildings, but not. It is altogether some extent different, because the environment of the northern India, apart from the Kashmir, northern India was hot and humid. To keep the palaces cool and eco-friendly, for that purpose, the Mughal initiated to build up the several gardens inside and outside the palaces. After having this complete journey, in conclusion, I would like to refer some points regarding there was any deforestation was taken place. I have mentioned in course of my discussion regarding the forest resources. Some extent forests were cut down because due to military expedition in one hand, on the other hand due to agricultural necessity. And I have already referred regarding the growth rate of population in the entire Mughal period, which shows that there was a development was taken place in the field of agriculture. But although the environmental balance was not disturbed in Mughal India as it was disturbed with the establishment of the colonial rule, Mughal were very much nearer to the environment. They preserved the principle of Islam. According to Hadith, Islam is a religion of nature. So they maintained this idea. And after the Mughals, when by the mid of the 18th century, the colonial rule began to establish in India, and throughout the 19th centuries, what kind of forest policy were taken by the Britishers, this makes a problem towards environment, towards society. And although there was a balance between nature and empire and common man, and through this entire journey, through this entire environmental journey, we can conclude that Mughal India was enough conscious regarding the forest resources, regarding the agricultural zone, regarding the environment. It was a great history that they preserved their environment very smoothly.